Hi Pine class, welcome back to Storytime. We're going to start chapter 2 of Journey to the Beginning of the World, and we're going to find out about the giant Pangu. So here we go. The wise old panda began his tale. There was once a time when nothing existed except a mist full of emptiness. But one day, into the mist came a great colourful brightness. The mist shook and separated, and whatever was light rose up to form heaven, and whatever was heavy sank and became the earth. From heaven and earth came two strong forces. From heaven came yin, and from earth came yang. Yin and yang created the sun, the moon, and the 4 seasons. They created the 5 elements: water, earth, metal, fire, and wood, and all the living creatures. Yet the earth was still just a ball floating like a jellyfish on water. So the forces of yin and yang made the giant Pangu. For thousands of years, Pangu held heaven on his back and worked to dig the rivers and pile up the mountains that cover the face of the earth. Each day he grew 10 feet taller, lifting heaven further and further away from the earth to create the sky. After all these years, Pangu was worn out. As he fell down dead to the ground, his breath became the wind and clouds, his sweat became the rain, his voice became thunder, his muscles became the fields, his hair became the plants, and his blood became the water in the rivers. His teeth and bones became gold and stones, and his bone marrow became pearls and jade. From the bugs living on his body, human beings were created. "Ugh," said Kit. As Kit was exclaiming, he, Sophie, and their new friend, Little Panda, were transported back to the Prim-tastical Book Emporium. Whoosh! As Mrs. Prim welcomed them, she said, "I think it's time you went home for tea. Your mum will be worried about you. But you must come back tomorrow, as there are more books that hold the answer that you are looking for." "But I thought we had the answer," said Sophie. "It was the forces of yin and yang, and the ancient one, Pangu, that made the world." "That's right," agreed the little panda. "Just wait and see," said Mrs. Prim. "You may find that there is more than one answer to your question." "I don't understand," said Sophie. She was quite confused. How can there be more than one answer? Next morning, Sophie, Kit, and their new friend, the little panda, rushed off to the bookshop. They waited impatiently for Mrs. Prim to come to the door. Then they dashed in and all asked together, "Can we go to the secret room now, please, please?" Mrs. Prim took them to the back of the shop and drew aside the curtain. Sophie once more looked up at the bookshelves and asked in her loudest voice, "How was the world made?" This time it was not a book, but an ancient scroll that freed itself from the shelves. As it landed in front of them, it unrolled to reveal small drawings like nothing Sophie and Kit had ever seen. "I can't read this one either," exclaimed Sophie. "Those are ancient Phoenician characters," said Mrs. Prim. As she spoke, there was a cloud of sparkling dust, and Sophie, Kit, and the little panda felt themselves lifted into the air and transported to another time and another place. Whoosh! And that's the end of chapter 2. We'll have to find out next time what the new place and the new time is.